Folks, you know how people sometimes will wonder why people like myself exist here on the internet? Today we are answering that particular question. Today, this video that we are making is all about conservatism, The truth is that most people in South Africa really have never heard about conservatism because mainstream media, and I'm talking about your ENCAs and News 24 and them, they confuse it with what they call right-wing extremism. So usually conservatism in South Africa refers to the protection of cultural identity and the maintenance of social stability and the upholding of mostly Christian values as the core of our political and economic principles. So that is what we basically believe in. We believe that, Christian values are the best values ever to set up a society for prosperity. And you want to ask where we take that inspiration from. That inspiration comes from the Western societies who have been able to generate a lot of wealth for themselves. And when you read books like Your Wealth of Nations by Adam Smith, you find out very quickly that the principles such as the Pareto principle, that which means 80% of all wealth is controlled by the 20% of the most productive amongst humans. That is a fundamentally Christian principle, and us as conservatives, we believe in this. We believe in the fact that in a society we can resolve issues through debate and open communication. We believe in social stability and working together in cooperation. And also, ladies and gentlemen, we believe in a merit-based system. We believe that people need to get opportunities based on their talents and their skills and the things they are able to do better than somebody else and provide the best, outputs. That's what we believe. We believe that a society must be arranged in that particular manner over there. So in South Africa, folks, we've had two phases of this conservatism. There's what we call traditional conservatism, which was the one we had before 1994. And this was mostly grounded within Afrikaner nationalism and, the idea of Christian supremacy. Would you believe that? And also traditional authority. But also, this one was grounded mostly in racial segregation. So it was a type of conservatism that only worked for a small group of South Africans, which were the whites. And among this group, there were elements within the NP and other parties where there were extremists. And these extremists really, really hated the black people. When they saw black people, they were filled with disgust. Now, the conservatives were the ones who were running the party who said the only way to organize South Africa is through social segregation, where provinces are going to run themselves. So there was also an idea of federalism. And then now, post 1994, we have a different type of conservatism. This type of conservatism is called Neo-Conservatism. You've ever heard of neocon? The term neocon. That's what it means. These are South Africans who are embracing modernization. So we believe things must be modernized instead of keeping things traditional. We also believe in free market capitalism, that free people in South Africa, free enterprise, shall establish businesses and cooperate together, exchanging money, of course, so that the economy grows. We do not want the involvement of government in free enterprise. Now, of course, one could argue that there's some elements of government that we do need in overseeing that business is conducted fairly in South Africa, and prices, are actually set that South Africans can achieve them. But even then, I do say that free market capitalism solves that idea by introducing what we call competition. When we have a lot of government interference working with multinational corporations, big business, we tend to have monopolies where small businesses are taken out, by strong monopolies that come with a lot of competition. You can't even compete. For example, you look at today, how do you compete with Agri-SA? If you are a small subsistence farmer, how do you possibly compete with Agri-SA? You can't do it. If you are, say, independent power producers get established by numbers in South Africa, and we compete to sell electricity to South Africans, already Eskom is going to destroy us because they have the power, first of all, to generate. They have the technology to do it. They have the money to do it for a very long time. Plus, they have the track record. Plus, they have the backing of government. You just can't do it. That's why we do not want government in private businesses, right? That's conservatives. That's us, the neocons. They call us the neocons. And we seem to have a strong sense of national pride. We call it patriotism. Of course, during the apartheid, it was, Afrikaner nationalism, where even Afrikaans was taught to the black children. But that is not what we are dealing with right now. In neo-conservatism, what we are dealing with is national pride of a rainbow nation. All of us should be patriotic to the flag called South Africa. You are a South African before you are black. You are South African before you are white. You are South African before you are Indian. That's what we believe. We also believe in military power. Our military, the budget has been reduced ever since I could read and write. Each and every year they cut it. We are weak as South Africans. We cannot, we always talk, but if another nation seriously attacked South Africa, we would not be able to take it because we are weak to the core. We cannot fight. Our military is bananas. I mean, we saw what happened in Congo. Our soldiers got killed in Congo, and there was absolutely nothing we can do about it. We do not have working fire jets. I mean, we do not have working fight jets. We do not have military weapons. Our intelligence has been infiltrated by a mafia called the Big Five. That's what they are saying. That's what they're telling us about Mkhwanazite by the Matlanga Commission. So we believe in military strength. We also believe in Christian values. I mean, this is very self-evident because Christian values are the bedrock of successful societies, because people tend to trust each other more openly when conducting business, and people tend to keep their word. And, in Christianity, people believe love your neighbor as you love yourself, treat your neighbor as you would like to be treated, things like that. We want to promote that into government, those types of values. That the best way to grow and protect our country is through strategic reform. We call it strategic reform, folks. Yes. Rooted in free market capitalism and enterprise. We do not want any state dependency. The idea that the government is going to come and help you is bananas, because the government doesn't help you. I think it was President Ronald Reagan of America who came out to say, anybody who says, I'm from the government and I'm here to help, is not out there to help you, and you must run as far away as possible. Ladies and gentlemen, in conservatism, we stand against corruption. We believe in law and order. We call it law and order. We want to see the police in your communities. We want to see criminals being arrested. We want to see a working criminal justice system. That's what we want. We want to fight against inefficiencies in the system. For example, in America, they have a government of the Department of Government Efficiency. They call it DOGE. Ran initially by Elon Musk, and he did what he did, and that ministry was closed, but they were able to save a lot of money for America, and as a consequence get a lot of Americans not to pay income tax. So that is to say, Americans got to keep more money in their hands, more money in the economy. So that's what we believe in. We believe in closing the border. Close the border. If anybody comes here, illegal Dinashi, you come here, you have a baby here, that baby is not a South African baby. When we deport you and your wife, we also deport you with your baby, because now it's very immoral of us to keep your baby here and separate the baby from the parents. The baby must go with the parents. Yes. A strong immigration system, a working border, a working home affairs, where ministers are not surprised that their administrators are busy selling IDs to illegal tinashes and illegal augurs over there. We don't want that. How do you know somebody is a conservative? I mean, have you ever listened to people like your Gareth Cliff, myself, first of all, Big Daddy Liberty? We love Big Daddy Liberty. Morning Shot. Morning Shot. Ronaldo Hose. Shout out Ronaldo. Citizen Consent by Katli Mwachi. Amazing lady. Mike Sham of the State of the Nation. Thomas Mabas, 360 Experience, right? Rob Herzog of the Truth Report. If you've ever heard about these people, shout out to you. And it means now you've hung out amongst conservatives, aka the enemy territory of the mainstream media, right? We the people who see the truth. Hit that sub, hit that like button. I'm out of here.